Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. You are the salt of the earth. You are the ones that make the world go round. Thank you for coming. We love each and every one of you. I read your comments. It doesn't work to spike me with bad comments, FBI and CIA, because I just erase them. And you keep me at 5,000 hits. That's fine. I'm content with being massively suppressed and the president ordering it. I don't know why. I don't care why, but you know how to find me. William Mount. Anyway, something's coming big, and I don't know what it is. And normally I can see what's coming. God shows me, but this time he says no. Because if you say what's coming, like when you say what's wrong with Air Force One, they can fix Air Force One. But if you don't say what's coming, they have no idea. And when it hits, it'll hit. And it'll hit them underground just as much as it'll hit them above ground. So a note from our advertiser, are your investments ready for the future? Mine are. You know, my wife looks at these, and I had them on my desk, and I'm taking them to the safe today. That's why I put them over here. They're going out. We spent $2,000 on this. That was months of saving. And we don't get that much money. And I never see the YouTube money anyway. So I had $2,000. So she walks in and said, you know, you have $7,000 sitting on the desk. I said, well, now it's $9,000. Oh, silver took a dump. It's down to $89 an ounce. Woohoo! It's up to $93. Why'd you take a dump? Selling. The big boys are selling and buying. So she said, we have $9,000 here. Because there's not 100, there's 101 coins. So we have $9,000 here. That's a lot of money. Just in one. And now I went to buy some more silver. And instead of buying 5 for the same amount, I was only able to get 1. Instead of buying 5. I liked it when I could buy 5 because I got this big stack, you know. Well, now I can only buy 1 for the same amount of money. And our income hasn't gone up, but inflation has. But I tell you what has gone up with inflation. Jane's in her mid-70s, and when she decides to retire, she doesn't have to worry. She can take care of the mortgage and the food. We got enough food we've been buying from Simply Clean Foods that we could live for the next 10 years on our food. But anyway, everything's stashed off-site, which is good because they could burn the house down. It won't affect us very much. I mean, sure, I'll lose my office and my computer and my backup computer, but hey, I got a backup office. Anyway, something's coming. I don't know what's coming. I'm going to read to you what I dug up last night. Trump bans visas in 76 different countries. They can't come to the United States. Starlink has decreased its orbit from 400 miles to 300 miles because of the electromagnetic interference in the upper atmosphere. We'll come back to that in a minute. Iran has eliminated the internet, and I think it's Chad or Uganda, one of those African countries, has turned the internet off. But Starlink has enough servers in Iran and Chad and Uganda and all that, where people are sucking off the servers with long-range antennas. They're still getting the real news. And yes, the Iranian riots are still continuing because there's no work and there's no water. And the Iranian government is too stupid to drill wells into the Caspian Sea. You know, because they're only 20 miles from the Caspian Sea. You just drill in a diagonal well, just like Saudi Arabia's sucking Yemen dry of all their oil. And then when Yemen puts in an oil well, they blow it up using U.S. munitions. And Elon Musk is increasing Starlink coverage all over the world. So those with satellite phones, Greg Hunter sells them, those with satellite phones can tie into the internet worldwide. And the U.S. dollar did not show up in a currency revaluation table. In other words, you go U.S. dollar versus Ugandan dollar, U.S. dollar versus Russian ruble, U.S. dollar versus Iran rial, which has totally collapsed, along with the Argentina peso. It didn't show up. And N3KL.org, which is Lockheed Martin's tracking of the sun, started going berserko about 4 years ago and is finally offline. They started lying. Lockheed Martin lie? No, not Lockheed Martin. Oh my God. So they started lying and now they're off the air. And the U.S. government officially states earthquakes are not caused by sunspots. And that's the USGS. Space weather shows a huge, huge sunspot from the southern part of the sun, 6 days away from hitting Earth. So as the sun spins, and that's another thing about SOHO WWW, NASA's sun tracking site. They usually show a month, 2 months of the sun spinning around. It spins around, I think, every 24 days. 6, 12, 18, 24. 6, 12, 18, 24. So they usually show a month or two of that spinning around. Suddenly they're down to just an hour. All of the sun documents are down to just a couple hours. In other words, SOHO WWW is hiding something. NASA's hiding something. They've been firing lasers at the sun. Well, what does a laser do? Well, Tesla had a machine about this big. He put it against a building and it caused an earthquake in the city. Caused the iron to vibrate. The whole city. So yes, a laser, when they attacked the American embassy in Havana, Cuba, they used 4 hertz. Just like that, 4 hertz. And it caused cancer in everyone in the embassy. Of course, they didn't know about Get the Tea with their sea vegetables and the other, and Immucyst, and they didn't know about Get the Tea spirulina. So they're all getting chemotherapy and dropping dead. But hey, they're embassy workers from the U.S. They're freaking snobs. But anyway, all major call centers are down, not just in the United States, but worldwide. But you can't get worldwide information right now because there's a blackout on getting information from India, China, and Russia. And Trump cuts all federal funding for sanctuary states, counties, and cities. Some rogue Obama judge will rule that null and void, and Trump will ignore it. And then China, they claim China has a big positive trade deficit. In other words, they're sending out $1 trillion more than they're bringing in. That is such a liar, pants on fire. China's exports have plummeted and their imports have skyrocketed as they're demanding more oil because their people want to not freeze. And their investments have collapsed all across China. And across the world, bankruptcies have skyrocketed, even in Russia. And yesterday it was 50 degrees outside in our house, 50 degrees outside, and our house stayed at 72 all day long. Something is wrong with the sun because those sun rays are getting into the top floor and the second and our bottom floor of our house. And they're keeping our house at 72 even though it's 50 degrees outside. God help you if you got a one-story house. And the feds are 100% completely underground now. Don't expect to get a response from the SEC or the OCC or the ABC, DEFG government corporation. They're all underground. They don't give a rat's rip about you. And the U.S. Supreme Court spent 3 hours, and they're still arguing today, 6 hours and 9 hours because they only meet for 3 hours of the day. And you know they don't meet in Washington, D.C. They meet in a private place in a studio. They've spent about 12 hours now arguing about what makes a man and what makes a woman. Well, Bouvier law, which is what we're under, French law, defines a man as having male hoo-hoo parts and a female as being able to have a baby. It's in the law, Supreme Court. Read the law and stop spending your precious time arguing over what a man and a woman is. They've gone wackadoodle nuts. Our Supreme Court can't figure out, and they're arguing with the ACLU, 12-hour arguments of what makes up a man and what makes up a woman. They said it best on an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, a man has a hoo-hoo and a woman has a hoo-hoo. Just pull down the pants and you'll know. And in France, Macron's uncle or daddy is actually a boy. They did that, and they said, you're a boy. And now she's suing everybody who says she's a boy, even though there's a Supreme Court ruling. So anyway, France is gone. There's total satanic confusion. 12 hours arguing what's a man and what's a woman. Unbuckle your belt buckle and pull your pants down, and I'll tell you. The common man can make a distinction. That's Bouvier law, Supreme Court. Follow the law. Not your rule of law, which means the courts make the decisions. Kiss Satan goodbye. Everybody knows what's a man and what's a woman, but they're still arguing about it. Somebody needs to go in and smash a couple of 2 or 3 Democratic heads, because the ones appointed by Democrats are causing the argument. And Comey Barrett, she's just wackadoodle. And it used to be that if you had a $10,000 and $1, 10,000 or more transaction, you had to jump through all kinds of hoops and report to the FBI, Zig Heil. Well, now that limit has been lowered to $200. You're going to be tracked if you pull out $200 more in cash, $200 or more in cash. So what did we do yesterday? We pulled out more than 200 from 3 banks, just to tell the FBI to stuff it. We're going to do what we want with cash. If we want to pull out 15,000, we're going to pull out 15,000. Are there any problems with that, FBI? I want you to go open on that, you little Nazi freaks. Anyway, what a man named Hitler and Mussolini both did, although Mussolini didn't do this much, in WW2, was they had mass immigration, massive fraud, massive investigation, and then they paid people to rat on each other, and then they monitored all bank accounts. They seized the accounts of people who said, we don't agree with the state. They put you in a concentration camp, and then they seized all safe deposit boxes, and the FBI has ruled that money in a bank and money in a safe deposit belongs to the bank. So keep your bank accounts low. You have $300,000 in a CD, guess what? It belongs to the bank. That's stupid. Okay, buy a Cabela's safe with the dial on it, and put it in gold and silver, and put it in your backyard, in a garage, in the basement, in your house. Get one of those safes that guarantees the content. Take a picture of it. Anyway, so they seized the safe deposit boxes, crashed the system, and then the next step on the crashing of the system, what they did in Hitler's time was they would go Auschwitz A98432. Now we're going to put a fluorescent mark here, an invisible fluorescent mark, and an invisible fluorescent mark here. And then they'll release the diseases that react to the ink and the viruses in the ink, and America will get sick and die. That's the next step. Now, if you look around the world, China's at war in Burma. China's at war with Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. They have been forever. They're trying to be at war with Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, all those countries surrounding China. Russia's at war in the Ukraine. The U.S. is at war in Ukraine. There's an investigation on men in women's sports. There's an investigation on Bill Clinton who's being indicted. There's this investigation on Somali fraud. There's an investigation on John Brennan, Russiagate. There's an investigation, should we have the Insurrection Act. There's a lieutenant. Investigation. Nobody's been arrested. There's no penalty for telling Congress to stuff it. Bill Clinton's not in jail. Brennan's not in jail. Nobody's in jail. There's a naval officer. He's a retired lieutenant. He retired as an 03, which is like a captain in the Army, which is what I left the Army as. And he's been investigating the Somali fraud since 2016. It says $500,000 a day has been leaving through gate number 2 in the Minneapolis airport. I've been telling politicians. I've been notifying the president. I've been notifying the head of naval intelligence. I've been directing my comments to the head of the CIA. They've been shipping through Minnesota $500,000 a day out of gate number 2 in the Minneapolis airport. That means Homeland Security is involved. TSA is involved. Airport security. The head of Minneapolis airport. Nobody's been arrested. $500,000 a day. That's $180 million a year over 12 years. He says it tops $9 billion just for Minnesota. Say 10 million. 10 million times 25 states, because that's the number the CIA has appointed as libtards. That's 10 billion times 25 is 250 billion. Now we're talking some big money to the Somali gangs and the Haitian gangs. Now Haiti's drying out, and the headhunters are coming down from the hills because there's 3 headhunting tribes, and they're all at war with each other, and they're coming out of the hills and hopping on a boat to Mexico and coming into the United States. These are the Haitians, the headhunters. The people, I've been there. I've been up there into the mountains, in the jungle, the Dominican Republic, it bordered Haiti. I've seen the headhunters. Didn't get very close, but I've seen them. They'll eat people, they'll eat dogs, they'll eat cats, they'll eat birds. The only place in the Dominican Republic I found birds was in the deep jungle, where it's really hard to walk because the vines are everywhere and you got to hack your way through it. And when I hacked my way through it, about a mile and a half later, there were the headhunters in fields. They would walk down the ridge, fill a plastic bucket up with water, go back to the tops of the hills. Because that's now Haiti's drying out, so I don't know, or Haiti and the Dominican Republic are drying out. So yes, they do eat dogs and cats. Been there, eating the dogs and cats. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? I didn't know I was eating dogs and cats. Found out 6 months later what I was eating. But anyway, bottom line is, something big's about to happen. I don't know what it is. It's going to be monumental. I can just feel it. God's not sharing with me what it is. We may or may not broadcast tomorrow. Yes, Trump's life is in danger on the 23rd of February. Yes, the motor mount is pretty severe on Air Force One. Yes, their left wing is still going floppity-flop. That's why you're on the left side of Air Force One. It goes floppity-flop, but you stand on the right side, there's no floppity-flop. So yes, we're still protecting the president despite the fact that he's ordered our censorship, and he's ordered Hegseth not to retire me from the military, and he's ordered the Securities and Exchange Commission not to pay me back the money they stole, and the VA not to pay me the rewards that I earned. So that's all coming out of the White House to try and destroy me while I'm saving the president's life. God's had it up to here with that BS. I don't know what's going to happen. But if I can see what's wrong with Air Force One, when the next threat to the president is, don't you think I can usually see what's coming? I.e., noble gold, silver, and gold. Sometimes I see it 10 years out, 15, 20 years out. Sometimes I see it a month out. Could I illuminate all the threats on the president for the next year? Yeah, I could do that right now, but I'm not gonna. But anyway, God bless. Thank you very much. I go to Noble Gold Investments. I go to Simply Clean Foods for food. I have a red light therapy machine. We have Coach Jimmy K's machines, which are enormously effective on pain. So is Get the Tea Salmon Oil. Enormously effective on pain. Enormously. And C60, I'm almost 70. How many wrinkles? Get the Tea Resveratrol, the cordyceps mushrooms, and C60. Anyway, you know all that I know. And insulin growth factor really does affect your blood sugar level in a good way, IGF-1. Anyway, God bless. Thank you very much. Right now, we're saving all, it's what the military gave me, or FBI or CIA or whoever shot me up with this stuff. God bless. Thank you very much. We love you coming to our show. We really appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope what we say sinks in so you can be prepared for what's coming. And I wish I could tell you. But I can feel it in my bones. I sense it. Maybe it's a sunspot. Maybe it's the Insurrection Act with martial law. I don't know. But something big's coming. Sorry about the shaking. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.